Yo, this is Josh from the Nomad Yoga family and Nomad Business Coaching, and this is another episode of Ask NBC. You post your questions down below. I'll answer them to the best of my ability to help amp up your business and make you feel good about going into work every day. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button and of course leave any of your questions so I can get to them right away. I've been getting a lot of calls recently for me to come in and help people set up an appropriate pricing structure. Pricing structure in a studio is insanely important and I think underutilized and wildly misunderstood. Let's be honest, most of us studio owners out there, how did we set up our pricing structure? I know the first studio that I helped set up, we just looked around at what the competition did and looked what other studios that were similar to us did and then basically did the same thing. There wasn't a lot of thought process into it, and that just doesn't really work anymore. How you approach your pricing is dependent on your local market, your vibe as a studio, and in part what's normal in the industry. But why does your pricing structure actually matter? I mean, of course that's what people pay you, but people just want the lowest price, right? No, that's actually not the case. The thing about a pricing structure is that it is the backup of your sales process. So when you're trying to convert people onto another pass and you're having a conversation with them about what they're going to get and the benefits of joining your membership or whatever else, when you finally have the moment in time where you're presenting them with a price, you need to have a good pricing structure set up that makes sense and is easy for them to understand to back up the conversation that you just had. Otherwise, you delete all of the effort you just put in prior to that moment in convincing them that they should continue to practice at your studio, which is probably the number one issue I see with people trying to sell their yoga passes. So when you have a good pricing structure, it actually backs up your sales process. And it does something else, and that is that it actually creates more authenticity in what it is that you do. If you have a nice long conversation with someone about the benefits of your yoga passes and how you're going to help them reach their goals and defining what their goals are, and then you back it up by showing them a really fair price for them practicing at a decent frequency, it buys authenticity. Because usually when you do a big setup, people expect there to be a massive price tag on the other end. Now, when it's a fair price tag, then people believe you. The way you know that your pricing structure works is that when you are done through your sales process and you've presented your pricing structure, people just say yes. Or they ask 1 to 2 questions maximum, and then they move on. If they start asking about a whole bunch of different passes, well, what about this? And maybe they should do this. And they start debating between your 10 class and your 1 month, or your 1 month and your 3, or your auto pay or your annual, you know that something's out of whack because they're thinking too much from the rational mind and about the dollars and cents instead of about what they need to be thinking about, which is actually practicing your yoga. Now, in terms of how you actually set up your pricing structure, there are 2 components that I think people don't really realize that you have to consider and are very important. The first is your entire pricing structure doesn't need to be set up so that your prices are priced relative to your competition. Yes, you should consider your competition, but that is far less important than your internal prices competing with each other. Here's the example. If you have a 10 class pass and you're selling it for only $110, people are paying $11 per class to come in and practice at your studio. $11 per class versus something like your autopay membership that you're probably offering at around the $99 amount. For them to get a better deal than your 10 class pass, they have to be practicing at least 9 to 10 times per month to get a better deal. So it's only for your high use user, which means that your 10 class pass is actually competing with your autopay. Which brings me to the second point of how you have to view your pricing structure, and that is look at it like a funnel. Ultimately, there should be one pass that you have defined as the goal pass to get every single client that you have on, no matter how long it takes. You can accept that people will buy other things, but your sales system should funnel people down to this one singular pass. In the old school days, we used to work on getting people onto your annual, but statistically, it's been proven that autopay is the better way to go. So we want to funnel people down probably to your autopay membership. And this is the whole goal of your sales structure. When you're setting it up, that means the price of your autopay relative to something like your class passes has to be such that your regular practitioner, your medium use practitioner, can access it and it's still the best deal. And the final easy point to be made about pricing structure is don't make it too complicated. If you overcomplicate things with too many options or too many details about you have to do this to get this to whatever, people just opt out or they default to whatever the easiest low commitment thing is, which is probably your ClassPass. So keep it simple. A good rule of thumb is 7 passes or less. I prefer even 5 or less, and if you were a really aggressive studio in a larger market, you could even whittle it down to only 3 pass options. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ask NBC. Post any of your questions down below about issues that you're having with your business or just things that you want to discuss, and I'll cover them as soon as I can. We'll see you next time around. Peace.